Hello, all you beautiful people. It's your girl Asia, the MUA, back with another video. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. Hopefully you make it to the end of the video. If, however, this is not your first time here, not your first time seeing my face, you already know what time it is. Hey, A-lister, how you doing? Okay, so as you probably noticed, I didn't start off this video with my customary intro. I'm not going to do that for this series because I feel like this series is something a little different than anything else I've ever done on my channel. I was watching this beautiful queen one day. Her name on YouTube is Kenny JD, if I'm not mistaken. She has a series on her YouTube channel called Bad Movie and a Beat. And she's so dope and she's so smart and so insightful and super talented. And I really, really enjoyed this series on her channel. It kind of gave me the inspiration to do a series of my own called Bad Experience and a Beat, where I talk about a really traumatic experience that I had in my past and do my makeup. And you guys get to join me and listen to me talk about this bad shit that happened to me in my life while I get beautiful. I was also inspired by my good sis, Shelly Smith. She made kind of like a testimonial post on her Facebook the other day, and I thought she was so brave, and it was just such a power move to me, and her story was so inspiring. So this series is going to have some triggers. I'm going to warn you guys now. These are experiences that I went through that left impressions on me, to say the very least. And it was really therapeutic to do this video. And I hope you guys find some gems of wisdom, find some insight, find some information, and, you know, learn something about blending some eyeshadow or applying some foundation. This content does contain discussions about, so if that is a trigger for you, I would rather you cut this video off right now and go watch 5-minute crafts. I don't want me talking about my experiences to trigger somebody else or to make somebody else feel bad. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this series because I have stories and I feel like I want to tell them. So if you guys are interested in listening to me talk about how I ended up on watch on Christmas Eve and see how I pull together this gorgeous holiday makeup glam together using a bunch of Juvia's Place products, y'all know the vibes. Just keep watching. It's so funny that I'm telling this story and the twins' dad literally just left from picking them up for the weekend. It had to be about this time 4, maybe 5 years ago now, because it was like Christmas Eve. So I went ahead and primed my eyes with my Glamouflage concealer. I think this is the color Amber. I really, really have been loving this to prime my lids with. It's really affordable. It's really accessible. It's by Hard Candy. It's at Walmart and it's $6. And it's, you know, pretty decent for eyeshadow base. So I'm going to start off with the Berries by Juvia's Place. I want to go in with this color right here. I'm going to go in with my BH Cosmetics 101 brush, and I'm going to go ahead and like smother my crease with this color. So it was definitely like this time about 4, probably 5 years ago now. The twins were still pretty young, and me and their dad were going through it. At this point in our relationship, I had got caught cheating. I will definitely be doing a Bad Experience and a Beat covering that situation. So I got this color in my crease and it's like really, really strong. I want to go ahead and try to soften it up before I even think about layering the next color on top of it. So it was like Christmas time and their dad was like going on and on about all these great things that he had done for them for Christmas, and he was going on about this for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And I didn't have a lot of money. I remember I didn't have a lot of money that year. I'm gonna hop into the Wahala 2 by Juvia's Place. I'm gonna go into this color, Lit. I'm gonna start with this color, and I'm just gonna start blending out the color from the Berries palette with Lit. So at this time, our relationship was so toxic, and I was in such bad shape, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I was just doing bad, and every little thing he said to me affected me so much in the worst ways. My postpartum depression had kind of transcended into just depression, and it was starting to manifest in the form of anxiety, and I was really struggling mentally. Like, I was doing bad. I was having thoughts, I was having ideologies. I didn't want to be here anymore. And to think that my twins were starting kindergarten and they were thriving and we were figuring out how to do this parenting thing, or at least I felt like I was on the verge of that. And I'm like riddled with this depression. I'm in this abusive situation where this guy talks to me like shit every single day of my life. And it's easy to say, you know, just don't pay attention to it and just ignore it. But when somebody is like feeding you negativity every single day, it has a way of planting a seed in your mind and burrowing in your mind. And the more you water that negativity, the more it's going to grow. And that's exactly what was happening to me. All that negativity started to just sit in my mind, and it sat in my spirit, and I was messed up. Like, I was really messed up. So I'm going to jump over to the Sahara 2 palette. I want to take Zohara. This is one of my favorite shadows. I want to take that and kind of tighten up my crease a little bit before I go in with the lid color. So, a couple days before Christmas Eve, I was at my homegirl's house, and I was parked illegally. I'm not going to deny that. I was parked illegally, and they sent the tow truck, and the tow truck had my car hooked onto the truck. And he was like, if I take this car down off this truck, it's going to be $200. I think I had like $250 to my name. So I'm like, if I give this man this money for this car, I'm not going to be able to get my kids anything. When I tell y'all how depressed that made me, when I tell y'all how sad that made me, oh my God. I was giving that man my last $200 crying. And there was like nothing, you know, nothing we could do. I was at my friend's house, and her mom was there. And her mom was like, man, you know that's wrong. She wasn't even parked here for that long. It is like Christmas Eve. You know you wrong. Take that girl's car down. And he was like, nah, once I got the car up there, I can't take it down until I receive a payment. And it was just like a really bad experience. So I'm like devastated. I give this man the last of my money, and I come home and I tell the twins' dad, and he just is like so unaffected and so ha, like I got one up on you. He had like no sympathy for me, and looking back, I can't really expect him to have any sympathy for me, because I'm the one that's responsible for everything I did. But at the same time, as, you know, mother and father of our children, like, damn, Daniel. But he hated me at this time. You know, he hated my guts because of what had happened in our relationship and how it had transpired. So here it is, Christmas Eve, and I'm supposed to be cooking, and I'm pretty sure we were arguing because at this point, that's all we did. All we did was argue. So I'm just like feeling like I was at my rock bottom. You know, it's a Christmas that the twins are gonna remember. This is something, you know, that they're gonna remember, that one year that mom didn't have any money to get us anything. This is what I was telling myself. It was total bullshit. I remember he was just like poking and poking and poking and just steady taking jabs, steady talking shit, steady going out of his way to make me feel worse. I already felt as bad as I had felt as a mother at that point. Probably ever since. That was such a low point. I felt horrible as a mother. I felt like a horrible person. I felt like a terrible mother because I had gotten into some trouble with like my driver's license and my insurance or something, and it was the end of the year. So the state of Nevada was coming for their money. So I had paid out a lot of money for this, and I just paid to get this car not towed, and I'm literally fucking broke. And here you are practically making fun of me because I can't buy gifts for our children for Christmas. It was just so hurtful. It was just really, really hurtful. And I was already in a really, really hurt place. So I had decided that I was going to commit. And I don't remember if I called 911 or if I like Googled a hotline or what, but I ended up on the phone with somebody and I told them that I had a plan, because I did. I had totally planned it out. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to take my little car and I'm going to drive to the stoplight. Then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go really, really fast coming back down the street, and I'm going to smash my car into this brick wall on the corner. I said, he will have to walk the kids to school now, and every time he sees it, he's going to think about me, and it'll hurt my kids, but people will come together and they will raise them and they'll thrive anyway because I know my kids are great. I had totally reconciled leaving my children on this earth by my own hand. I had totally reconciled that. I had made peace with that. I had talked to God about it, and I had made my decision. I don't remember if I called 911 or if I called a hotline, but when I told them I had a plan, they were like, where are you? I'm going back into the wallet too. I want to go into this color. Oh my goodness, this color. Honey. So I'm going into this color Fake. It looks so multi-chromatic and just, oh my goodness. I can't wait to lay this onto my eyelid. I'm like fucking drooling right now. So I told them where I was. Oh, Jesus Christ. I told them where I was. And a few minutes later, there were a couple of cop cars and an ambulance in front of my house. I don't think the twins' dad had any idea what was going on. He just saw these people pull up to the house, and he, you know, comes outside and they're telling him they're here to take me away. And, you know, my kids are standing there and the neighbors are outside, and it was just like, I didn't understand what was going on. This is on some next level ish right here. Baby, give me a whole pallet of these, please. I didn't fully understand what was going on until I got to the hospital and they took my cell phone. And they put me in this room and told me that I couldn't leave. I didn't understand I didn't understand that once I spoke to whoever it was I spoke to. I think my dumb ass called 911. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't understand that once I made that phone call and told that person that I had a plan, and my plan was so accessible. It was so right there. I didn't understand that put shit into motion in a way that at that point was completely out of my control. And I didn't want it to get that. I didn't want it to escalate that far. I wanted somebody to talk to me, because at that moment I just needed somebody to talk to me. And I didn't feel like I had anybody. I didn't feel like anybody understood where I was coming from. I felt like nobody would get it. I felt like nobody would understand the pressure that I was under compared to their dad, and how I was being berated because I wasn't able to live up to some arbitrary standard that he created to psychologically torment me. I didn't see it. All I saw was I wasn't good enough and I didn't want to be here anymore. But I had been feeling like I didn't want to be here anymore for such a long time. This just became, one of those straw that broke the camel's back situations. I was just like, forget it. I'm over it. I'm tired of trying, Our relationship is never going to work. We're never going to be happy, and it's all my fault, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of walking around feeling guilty for all these things all the time. It was just too much. It was too heavy, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So once I called them and told them I had this plan, 72-hour hold. It's Christmas Eve, mind you. So they put me in this room and it's like a little TV in there, and there's a telephone, and I can see like the camera like in the corner of the room. So I knew I was being monitored. There was a guard walking the halls. Since I was on a 72-hour hold in the psych ward, I could hear all kinds of stuff going on in the hallways. It literally felt like if prison was a hospital. Like, I felt like I was in a mental institution. And it was pretty awful. Not gonna lie. So I really, really love this shadow, and I want to add some of this glitter. I've been sitting on this glitter for about 2 years. It's from a company that I don't even know if they sell cosmetic glitter anymore. It says Glitter My World on the package, and the name of this glitter is Arcane Blast. It's just so pretty. Oh my god. And I've only used this like twice. I'm going to go in with some Mo Glitz and Glam glitter primer. So before they took my phone, they gave me an opportunity to write down a few phone numbers. And I remember I knew the twins' dad's number by heart. I still know his number by heart to this day. One of the only phone numbers that I know by heart. This glitter is amazeballs. I wrote down a few phone numbers and they took me to the room. So no incoming calls were allowed. You were allowed to make local outgoing calls. And that was it. Oh, that's so nice. So at this point, I'm calling the twins' dad, and he's like, you need to figure out how to get the fuck out of there. I don't know if you understand what you just did, but you're on a 72-hour hold. It is Christmas Eve. You cannot spend the weekend at the hospital. Our kids need you home. And I just felt so bad. I felt so dumb, and it just made everything worse. Like, I felt like I had done something once again to make everything worse. And I don't know if he ever understood how much he was a trigger for me at this point. Did I mention that it's Christmas freaking Eve? So I'm talking to the nurses like, listen, sis, this is not where I was trying to get this situation to escalate to. I was really just trying to call a number to talk to somebody. I was just feeling really down today. Things are not going my way this holiday season. I need to get home to my kids. And they're like, well, the only way you can get signed out to leave is if a doctor comes in and evaluates you and says it's okay for you to be released to somebody's custody. So I'm like, okay, boom. Where the doc? Let me holla at him. They're like, well, the doctor is at a hospital in Henderson right now, and we don't know when he's coming back to this facility, if at all, this evening, ma'am. So I'm like, bruh, it's Christmas Eve and my kids are at home waiting for me. I do not want to take my life. I just wanted somebody to talk to. You guys have got to help me get home. It is Christmas Eve. I want to go home to my kids. But I knew if I would have freaked out and if I would have had a meltdown, I wouldn't have seen the outside of that hospital until freaking New Year's Eve. So I'm going to go in with foundation. I use 2 foundations. I use OG Pro Longwear, the one in the glass bottle from MAC. It has been discontinued, but I got me a little stash. And I like to mix it with the I Am Magic foundation by Juvia's Place in the shade Savannah. I flip-flop between Savannah and Punta Cana in the Juvia's Place foundation. And I do NC45 in the OG Pro Longwear foundation. Using the finger that I mix the foundations with to apply the foundation to the parts of my face that I feel like need the most coverage, like I'm doing like a pre-coverage type situation, just so I don't waste that product that's on my finger. Waste not, want not. So I'm like ringing the nurses every 20 minutes. I'm driving these nurses crazy, okay? I'm ringing them every 20 minutes. Like, do you know if the doctor's coming back? Like, do you know when he'll be back? Do you know where the doctor is? Like, what is going on? Can I please go home, Miss Nurse Lady? Please let me go home. So I think they had paged the doctor. They were like, no, we told him, if he can, to get over here, before he goes home for the evening so that he can come and talk to you and get you on the phone with the specialist and make sure everything is okay. At this point, a couple of them had come into my room and they were like, okay, what happened? Because everybody was talking about me in this ward of the hospital that night. And I'm just like, because I was totally being the squeaky wheel. I wanted to do whatever I needed to do to get home to my kids, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to be there. So a couple of the nurses had come in and talked to me and asked me some questions and, really just kind of got a feel for where my head was at that point in the evening, because I could have melted down. I wanted to melt down. I almost did melt down. But I knew I had to stay focused and I knew I had to keep my head clear, because if I didn't, they would think I needed to be there for 72 hours, if not longer. So now I'm going to go in with my 2 concealers. I'm using Pro Longwear NC45 and NC42. That's what these are. The NC42 is just in a sample jar. So eventually the good old doc shows up, okay? He had been told about me. There had been a buzz about me that evening, like, okay, are we gonna get this lady home to her kids? Do we really feel like she was gonna take her car and smack it into that wall? Like, they had heard the whole story. So the doctor comes in and we have a good little chat. We had a good chat. I remember talking to this doctor for about 20 good minutes, and I really got vulnerable with him and just told him what was going on. Like, it's just been so heavy for me lately, and I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. But being pulled out of my home in front of my children, in front of my entire family, that woke me up like ice cold water. And for my kids to wonder where I was going on Christmas Eve and to not know when I was coming back, it's just made me realize I have to be here. I have to be here. I have to be strong enough to be here. I have to figure out a way to battle this depression. I have to figure out a way to push through this stuff that I've been feeling, these thoughts that I've been having. I have to figure it out because I don't want anything else to ever give me this feeling. The feeling that I had being taken away from my children, I don't want anything else to ever make me feel like that. So, talked to the doctor. They held me for a little while longer. Then eventually he came back. This was, I want to say, maybe hour 4. Maybe hour 4 or 5. So the doc comes back and they're like, if we can release you, to the custody of the father of your children, or the custody of, anyone over 21 that can drive you, because you can't drive. We can't let you leave here and let you drive. So you cannot drive. So if we can release you to the custody of someone over 21, we will let you go home. And I was like, the only person that I can think of to call right now is my kid's dad. So called. They spoke to him, and the doctor approved for me to be released to him, and they held me for a little while longer. Looking back on it now, I find it so weird that while I'm grateful to the high heavens that they released me to the custody of the person that pretty much not put me there, but caused me to find myself there. I thought that was really weird. And it just makes me think about situations of abuse where a woman goes to the hospital and her dude, beat her up, but that's the person that's picking her up from the hospital. Isn't that odd? I can just remember being in that room and just really having a chance to reflect on where I was and how I got there, I got to really think about my relationship with the father of my children as a whole. And I really knew that what I told that doctor had to be true. I had to make some changes. I had to do something different. I had to bring myself out of this place, because if I didn't, I might not call 911 first next time. I knew as soon as I got there that wasn't where I wanted to be. I knew as soon as I got there that I didn't want to do anything or have anything happen that I would be taken away from my children. I knew as soon as I got there. I knew as soon as I was taken out of that house and I was sitting in the back of that ambulance, I was sitting there like, this ain't it. This ain't it, sis. This ain't it. So anyway, doctors end up releasing me to Twins' dad. By this time, it's 11 o'clock, so it's really late. And just imagine this ride home. Imagine how uncomfortable and how awkward this ride home was. and then multiply that by like times 10. I don't know if he ever like fully understood how much power his words had over me at that time. But when he came and picked me up, I expected him to be really, you know, on his high horse about the whole situation. But he was pretty quiet. So I don't know if he was being sensitive or if he really realized that I was like literally going through something, because it wasn't just me, you know, calling out for attention. It wasn't just, you know, me doing some stupid shit at an unfortunate time because I felt bad. It was really me crying out for help, and really me. If you have somebody in your life that you know is like screaming out for help, get them some help. Talk to them. Direct them to people that they can talk to if you don't feel comfortable. Get them some help. Like, people are losing their lives to mental illness every single day, and it's so preventable. So, you know, we come home and we don't really talk about it anymore. He brought it up in a couple of arguments, you know, after the fact, but that was just his MO at the time. That was just something that he did. That was, you know, one of his weapons of choice when we would be in a heated conversation, a debate, or an argument. He would, you know, really take jabs at my weaknesses and really exploit them to his advantage. I just felt like this was a good time to tell this story, not only because it's like coming up on the anniversary of it actually happening, but it's hard out here. It's hard out here this time of year in general, but it is like exponentially that much harder, taking into consideration everything that's going on. I think about people that are in situations similar to the situation that I was in years ago. If I had to be quarantined in the house with him right now at that time, I probably would have slammed my car into that wall around the corner, because I can't imagine being stuck in a space where you're not getting any relief from the person that is beating on you every day, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. It's all abuse. So of course, since I've gotten lots of counseling, done my fair share of therapy, therapy is definitely something that I plan on continuing, because after all this, we're all going to need therapy. So the holidays is always a really difficult time for me. And one of the reasons is because I think about this like every year. I think about this every holiday season. And this year, thinking about it, I'm kind of looking at it with a different lens. I'm just thankful that I'm not in that place anymore. I've come such a long way from that place, and I'm so thankful to that. And if you are in a place like that, if you are in a dark place, I just want to let you know that you can bring yourself out of that place and live in the light. I promise you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I'm like super into how this look came out. I love everything about it. Do you guys mind the straps? Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a strapless bra that functions properly, and I could pull the straps down and tuck them into the top, but I feel like when I do that, like when I pull the straps down and tuck them in, see, that looks nice. I don't want to lose that, you know. That's pretty much it for this look. I love how it came out. So I feel like this is like a sleeker, more modern version of a classic holiday look of mine. Okay, all that other stuff aside, This was a pretty serious topic in this video, and I'm going to be covering some pretty serious topics in this series. So brace yourself. If you or somebody you know is suffering with mental illness or struggling with depression, anxiety, I have linked some information below, some contacts for you to reach out to if you feel like you need to, because at the time I was like, okay, this is not what I want. But now that I think back about it, what if the ambulance wouldn't have come to my house? What if I would have been home? You know, who knows what would have happened? Who knows what I would have ended up doing? So the lesson I learned in this experience was simply, don't wait until you get ready to explode. If you feel that pressure, do something to release it. Do something healthy to release it. Don't wait until you get ready to explode. If you're in a situation where you're being abused mentally, physically, emotionally, any kind of way, get help. At this time, the twins were in kindergarten, if I'm not mistaken, and once they completed that year of school, their dad ended up moving out. And I know, had he not done that, had we not separated, had I stayed in that situation, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm thankful to the doctors, I'm thankful to the nurses, I'm thankful to the staff that helped me get through this experience and helped me learn the lesson that I was supposed to learn. If you need help, get help. It's out there. This is a hard time of year for a lot of people. Just be mindful, be kind, wear your mask, wash your hands, be safe. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of this video. I appreciate it so much. I can't stress this enough. If you or someone you know needs help, if you're struggling, please get help. Please get help. All my social medias are down here. If you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to me. Like, I don't want you to feel like you don't have anybody, because that's how I felt. And I ended up in the psych ward on a 72-hour hold on Christmas Eve when I had my kids at home. I could have ended up dead. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this look, honey, this look is a vibe. If you enjoyed this look, make sure you give me a huge thumbs up. It really helps boost the video, and I appreciate the support. Like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on your post notifications. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, stay beautiful.